To everyone. So, friends, today I am going to tell you the chapter number 5th of Science Class 6th topic Separation of Substances, book NCERT. So, friends, in our daily life, there are many types of substances, and we all need to separate them. So, friends, in this chapter, we will learn different methods of separation, that how to separate substances from one and each other. Okay, this is a chapter based on in which we have to learn methods of separation. Okay, so let's get started. So, friends, this is a table that why do we need to separate substances. First, there are separation process, then purpose for which we do the separation, and then what do we do with the separated components. Okay, so please do this table in your notebook. This is a homework for you. Okay, so now we will learn the methods of separation. So, friends, the first method of our separation is hand picking. Okay, the first method of separation is hand picking. In hand picking, we take a small quantity of grains like 15 kg, not gram, 15 kg, 20 kg, and we take grains mixed with husk, particles, stones, and then we separate it by the method of hand picking. We take the stone particles and pull and we drop them. Okay, so in this picture also you can see this, the man is having grain and mixed with stone and dust particles, and he is separating it by hand picking. He is picking up the stone particles and then dropping it outside or dropping it. Okay, the husk particles or stone particles. In this method you can only use small quantity like 15 kg, 20 kg, not 1000 kg, not at all big quantities. We have to use only small quantities. Okay, so the next method of our separation is threshing. Okay, so let's learn about that method. In threshing, we have a very hard component like this, and this is a stalk. Stalk means in which grains or wheat grows. In stalks, grains or wheat grows, and we have to separate grains from that stalks. Okay, we have to separate grains from that stalk. So what do we do? So in this, the farmer on the or the man take the stalks, and then on the hard component or the hard surface of the material, he start beating the stalk and the grains separate from the stalks. In this figure also you can see that the man is beating the stalk in the on the harder surface of this component, and the grain is separating from this. This method is also used for separating substances, and it is used to separate a large quantities of grain. Okay, so the next method is winnowing. Okay, winnowing. So let's learn what is the method of winnowing. In winnowing is fully based on the direction of air. In winnowing, we take a small component like this, okay, and in which grains and stone dust particles are all mixed, and it is also used to separate a large quantity of grains. Okay, so in this we can see here in the direction of the air, this air is pulling off. You can see that the weight of the wheat is heavier than stone and dust particles. Okay, this method is used when the when the weight of the substances are different, like in which we can see here that the grain is dropping here, and with the direction of the air, the husk or stone particles are the wind is lifting them and they are being separated. This is also used to separate a large quantity of grain. Okay, so our next method is sieving. Okay, sieving. In this method, we used a substance or a component which is known as a strainer, in which there are many types of holes. Begin this, you can see here there are small holes in this, and it is used to separate flour. Okay, flour from the wheat or from the dust particles or the small pieces of wheat. When we tilt it, or when we start tilting it, then the flour will get out from it, and the stone wheat will remain on it. So it is also used to separate a large quantity, and in this the size of the components should be different. It is used to separate also cement. Then you can see here there is a big in which we are lifting off the cement and the stone, in which this man is pulling a thing, and in which this cement is being separated and the stone is collecting here. Okay, so hope you all understand it. And I am telling you one more method of separation which is not written in this book. It is magnetic separation. Okay. Okay friends, so in magnetic separation we use a magnet. Okay, magnetic separation. In this method we use a big magnet to separate iron part. If we have some sulfur, okay, some sulfur mixed, if this is a pot and we have sulfur in this, if this is a pot, we have sulfur in it mixed with some iron particles. So in this case, which method we use of separation? In this we have to use the magnetic separation. We will take a magnet, and with the help of magnet, the magnet will pull out all the iron particles, and the sulfur will be separated from iron particles. Okay, so this is a very simple method of separation. Okay, so our next method of separation is sedimentation, decantation and filtration. Okay, in this method, three methods are used: sedimentation, decantation and filtration. So first we will learn about sedimentation and decantation. So I will give you one example. If we have to separate sand, earth or soil plus water, and we have to separate soil from that water, so what we will do in this case? So first we will use the method of sedimentation. In the method of sedimentation, our glass, this is a beaker, and we have poured sand, soil plus water. In this we have to keep this beaker for some time. We have to left this beaker for some time, and in this we learn about that the sand will settle down. Okay, the sand will settle down. Okay, and when the sand will settle down, we will tilt that beaker. We will tilt that beaker like this. And when we will tilt that beaker, the water will come outside, and we can separate sand from that water. So this is, we use both the methods, sedimentation and decantation. When the sand settles down, it is known as sedimentation, and when the water is separated from that soil and water, it is known as decantation. Okay, so now we will learn about the method of filtration. Okay, filtration. In filtration, we use a filter paper or a filter bowl. In this figure, you can see. In this, we make a filter paper like this. We make a filter paper, and in which soil and water both are mixed, and we start pulling that. Okay, we start pulling that, and in that the soil and the dust particles, the soil will remain on this filter paper and the clean water will come out, and this method is known as filtration. Okay, in which the soil remains on the filter paper and the clean water is poured into this beaker of glass. Okay, so friends, the soil particles or the soil which settles on this filter paper, this method is also known as residue. In filtration, there are two types. One is residue. Okay, please remember this. One is residue and the other is filtration. Remember this. When the soil or the dust particles remain on the filter paper, this is called residue, and when the clean water goes into the beaker, this is known as filtration. Okay, remember this. This is also very much important. Okay, the next method of separation is evaporation and condensation. Evaporation and condensation. Okay, you all know, we have also studied that evaporation means by heating the water. Okay, the process of conversion of water into its vapor is called evaporation. The process of conversion of water into its vapor is called evaporation. When water, I will give you one example. This is one beaker and this beaker is filled with water. When we heat down this, the water converts into water vapor. The water converts into steam. This process is known as evaporation. Okay, friends. So I will give you an example for this. When we have to separate salt from mixed with water, so you also know, in the previous chapter we learned that the salt dissolves in water. So how do we separate it? We separate it by the process of evaporation. When we heat up the salt, we can get the salt back. Okay, and the water will convert into steam. Okay, so we can do this. And you know how the salt is made? The salt is also made by the process of evaporation only. The mixed water, seawater contains many salts mixed in it. One of this salt is the common salt. When seawater is allowed to stand in shallow pits, water gets heated by sunlight and slowly turns into water vapor. Through evaporation, in a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid salts. Common salt is then obtained from the mixture of salt by further purification. Okay, so when it is heated, the water evaporates. Okay, when the water evaporates in some days, leaving behind it the common salt separates the solid salt. Okay, and this we can obtain it by the further purification. Okay, so there is one more method, the method in which water vapor turns into water again. This method is known as condensation. Okay, remember this. This is also main point. The method in which water vapor turns into water, the water vapor turns into water is called as condensation. Okay, then use of more than one method of separation. We have studied more methods of separation. You can also see here when the ice is heated, and this ice is melting down and the water is coming from this. Okay, you can also see here. Okay, water dissolve any amount of separation amount of a substance. Okay friends, when we pour some water in a glass and we then start pouring some salt or start pouring some more amount of salt in it, when we start pouring more amount of salt when it at one limit, the salt will get the salt will not get dissolving. Okay, we have to pour, if we pour 1 kg, if we, it is very difficult if we pour 1 kg of salt in 100 ml water, sorry, in 100 ml of water, then at one limit the salt will not get dissolved. Okay, so in this process we will use the method of evaporation. If we do the method of evaporation, then the salt will start dissolving. Okay, and if we use the method of condensation, then it will, then it will not get much, then it will not get much amount, it will not get dissolving. Okay, so and from this we have finished our chapter. There are this many tabs. You remember this and fill and write these keywords in your notebook. Write the definition also of these keywords. Okay, now we will do the summary of this chapter. Hand picking, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation, decantation and filtration are some of the methods of separating substances from their mixture. These are methods of separating. Okay, then husk and stones could be separated from grains and picking. Okay, husk is separated from heavier seeds of grain by winnowing. Difference in the size of particles in a mixture is utilized to separate them by the process of sieving and filtration, in which the size of separation, the size of component should be different. Okay, in a mixture of sand and water, the heavier sand particles settle down at the bottom and the water can be separated by decantation. Okay, this is known as sedimentation and decantation. Filtration can be used to separate components of a mixture of an insoluble solid and a liquid. Okay, it is used to separate insoluble solid and a liquid. Evaporation is the process in which a liquid gets converted into its vapor, and evaporation can be used to separate a solid dissolved in a liquid. Okay, a saturated solution is one in which no more of that substances can be dissolved. More of a substance can be dissolved in a solution by heating. Water dissolves different amount of soluble substances in it. So friends, from this part we have finished our chapter 5th of science. Okay, so if you like our video, then please like it, subscribe our channel and share this video to our friends. Thank you and have a nice day.